Hey guys, I am Daisho, and I am here bringing you some gameplay commentary of some Magic, and I'm finally back to real-life Magic, but I'll talk about that in just a second. First, I'm going to commentate over the beginning of the game. I start out with just an island, and then he plays a Wolfbin Captive, one of the best things to start out with. It's way better when you're on the play, especially since it would have just flipped the first turn, which would have been amazing for him. But anyway, then I play myself a Screeching Scab. And he basically has to decide whether or not he wants to pump. He's going to swing in, and I'm just going to choose not to block. And he can either take me down to 17, or he can choose to develop his board position. He says, I'm not going to pump. I'm just going to play out my Gastaff Shepherd, which is pretty good for him. Gastaff Shepherd is one of those amazing, amazing cards in any kind of green deck, especially in a werewolf green deck, which you'll see he's got a whole bunch of werewolves. So it's really, really good for him to get that out. But anyway, I took a mulligan down to 6, and my options aren't as open as I really would have liked. Mulligan to 6 when you are on the play is really not so great usually. But anyway, I don't have a land drop 3, but I do have a Dawn Treader Elk, so that's pretty good. I think I should have... I don't really actually remember if I had Dawn Treader Elk out there or not. When I started the game in my hand, and maybe I should have played the Dawn Treader Elk turn 2, but I don't know if that was really an option for me. But anyway, now we have a little bit of a break since my opponent has to make some decisions, and you'll see in just a second that he does make the right ones. But anyway, this is a really, really old draft for those of you who don't know. It's been about like a week and a half, so I'm sorry it took me so long to get these draft videos out, but it was just a really busy time, and I didn't have the time to edit it. Plus, this match is really, really long, so long that I actually broke it up into 2 different parts. The first game is in this one, and then the others will be in the next video. But anyway, another thing that I wanted to say was, unfortunately, this is the finals match of this draft. The first round I uploaded a while back. It was really, really quick. My opponent conceded pretty early because I curved out really, really well. Got like my Stitch Drake out very early, and I was just beating him really, really quickly. So that was good for me. But then anyway, he lets his werewolves lets his werewolf slip here, and so he basically decides not to attack and not to play any creatures or anything like that. So anyway, back to what I was saying. What my normal technique was that I basically recorded the draft, then recorded the first match, then recorded the third match, and during the second match my camera was charging. But recently I found my charger for my camera, and now I can actually charge. Previously I had to just plug it into my computer to charge, but now I can basically just charge my camera as I am recording. So now I can just record all the games, and you won't have to miss any, which is really unfortunate for this one because I feel like match 2 was the best match for both sides, and it was really, really entertaining. I won it in 2, but they were both very, very close, and like both games it was 1 or 2 turns away from him making it back. But eventually we're going to stop this me thinking, him thinking kind of thing. But basically I was really upset because I didn't have the second blue that I wanted, since I've got Stitch Drake in hand and I wanted to play him, as well as I also want to play my Armored Scab because I would just want to get another dude on the field. But I also know that I can't just rely on the fact that I'll draw an island next turn, and I need to sacrifice my Dawn Treader Elk here. So Dawn Treader Elk is just going to be a chump blocker this turn, and he's going to have to chump block and then sacrifice himself and then go get some Lanzos. But this is finally back to normal play. It's kind of obvious that he's got to swing in here, and it's also kind of obvious what blocks I'm going to do. He makes a really, really nice prediction and play here. So he's got 3 lands out. He could have played another one before, but which he does have in his hand, as I find out in a second, but he chooses not to. He's basically trying to guarantee that I block. Blocking is really, really beneficial for him right here, because he's just going to play out his Hunger of the Howlpack. So he basically just used Hunger of the Howlpack to not only pump his creature, but just as a kill card for my creature. So that was really good for him, and then I'm just going to sacrifice my Dawn Treader Elk. But another reason why it was so important for him to swing in before playing the land is because maybe I wouldn't have blocked, maybe I wouldn't have wanted to sacrifice my Dawn Treader Elk for whatever reason. And the other spell that he has to play this turn is his Ulvenwald Bears. He's just going to drop that land, and he's going to play Ulvenwald Bears, and then he's going to have a 4/4. So that's really, really good. I mean, for those of you who don't know what Ulvenwald Bear says, even though I just put it on the screen just a second ago, it basically just allows you to put put 2 +1/+1 counters on any creature. You can't put 1 on one and another one on the other, but you can just put 2 on one creature. So he decides to put them on the bear, and makes it into a 3-cost 4/4, which is kind of awesome for him right now. So it was a really good play by my opponent. Unfortunately, his werewolves will flip, but it's still pretty good since like the Wolfman Captive is like, he's pretty good on both sides, really. This side, his pumping is pretty cheap, so now he's basically, I mean, he basically just turned his creature into a Dark Thicket Wolf that only needs 2 to pump instead of 3. And the other side, it just has a lot of like power, so you could swing it for 6, and if they leave it unblocked, then they're taking a lot of damage. 6 damage is really just significant amount. But again, I'm not really drawing my lands, which I need because right this turn I kind of wanted to play out my Stitch Drake and also use Silent Departure, I guess, although I'm not really sure what I would silently depart, since I know that I can't let the situation go as it is, because my opponent has way more dudes out than me, and my Stitch Drake, the only thing I can actually profitably block is his Gas-Staff Shepherd, unless it flips, in which case I can't even block that, so that would just be terrible for me. And I can't let the board state be as is, because I'm just going to be taking a ton of damage, as you guys will see this turn. I think I'm going to take 8 damage, because he's going to swing in with his bear and his Wolfman Captive, and that's just going to be a sad day for Daisho. Yep, there he goes. Swing in. Obviously, I can't block either of them, because if I block the Wolfman Captive, he'll just pump it to a 4/4. It'll just kill my Stitch Drake. It won't even trade. Like, at this point, I might have just traded and been happy about it, but I could not even do that. And obviously, I'm going to have to take the bears, because that's already a 4/4, so don't want to just use my Stitch Drake as a jump blocker. So anyway, this is really not good for me, because he's just way ahead, and then he's like, you know what, I'm way ahead already, and I'll play a Daybreak Ranger. This card is so good. At a 3-drop, it is such a bomb, and it wins you the game so often, and it's just so good. You'll see he's definitely going to be the MVP, maybe not of this game, but definitely of one of the others. In this game, he's just a constant threat. If I ever let him flip, it's completely game over, because then he can just pick off 1 creature every turn for just 1 mana, so that's amazing. But anyway, I'm going to play out the Armored Scab. It was a pretty obvious play for me. I need another blocker, basically, and then not only can I just Armored Scab, but I can also Armored Scab and then Silent Departure. Problem with Stitch Drake, which is why I couldn't do it last turn, is that he costs double blue, so that was unfortunate for me. But now I'm like, I don't even know what to use Silent Departure on, because if I silently depart the bears, then he can just swing it next turn, 1 creature will die, and it'll just be right back where we were a turn ago. And if I silently depart the Gas-Staff Shepherd, doesn't matter, because it's not doing anything anyway. And same thing with Daybreak Ranger. It's not really going to be able to do anything until it flips anyway. So I do decide to end up silent departuring the Wolfman Captive, which is okay, because I get rid of the +1/+1 counter on it, but he doesn't really care too much, because it's only a 1-drop. So as you'll see, he'll be able to just play it again next turn, as well as another spell. Whereas if I had silently departed anything else, then he wouldn't have been able to play another spell. So maybe the wrong decision, maybe the right decision, but basically my plan here is just to trade the Stitch Drake for the Ulvenwald Bear. I'm just going to double block with my Stitch Drake and my Armored Scab, and then that should do the trick. I'll be able to get rid of the bear, and then while I'm not in a good position, if I do get some mana, then I'll be happy. But this is where it was really important that I missed that land drop early on in the game. Since I'm holding a Cackling Counterpart in my hand, what I really ideally want is to just Cackling Counterpart my Stitch Drake and then Silent Departure for victory, basically just swinging for 6 every turn, and I'll win in 4 turns. So then hopefully Silent Departure plus play 1 creature per turn, block his biggest creature, and hopefully win. But unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to swing in for 6 next turn. I'd only be able to swing in for 3. So he plays his Gutter Grime out here, and I mean, Gutter Grime is an interesting card. It's an enchantment that is really weird and wonky. The main problem with it is if you destroy Gutter Grime, then the slime tokens all have 0 power. I mean, 0 power and 0 toughness, so they just die immediately, which is just not too much fun. Obviously, makes them pretty much useless, but it also means that I didn't really want to double block the Armored Scab and the Stitch Drake, because I would just be losing out. But anyway, he's able to play the Gutter Grime and the Wolfman Captive here, so it turned out that my Silent Departure was pretty much wasted. I mean, it did save me 4 damage, which I probably would have taken this turn instead. So I guess it wasn't completely wasted, but it definitely wasn't the greatest situation for me. And I still have to worry about that Daybreak Ranger. And I think pretty soon I'm actually going to give up. I don't think it's this turn. I think it might be next turn. I'm actually going to swing in with my Stitch Drake here. He's like, okay, I'll take 3 and then swing back for game. But I do play a Solve Occultist as a blocker. And, I mean, I'm not going to bring it up again. Obviously, the land screw hurts, but I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm not saying that I should have won this game or anything. It's just because everyone gets land screwed. It happens all the time. It happened to a couple of my opponents the other day, and it's just unfortunate when that happens. But it's part of the game. There's an element of luck in this game, and you just have to recognize that whenever you play. So anyway, he's got pretty commanding board position. He's got that Guttergram, Daybreak Ranger, Gastaff Shepherd, Ulvenwald there with 2 counters on it, and his Wolfbane Captive. And all I've really got here is my Solve Occultist. Fortunately for me, he doesn't really want to lose his Gastaff Shepherd or Daybreak Ranger, so he just swings in with those 2. But I don't know. The play might have been to just bring everyone in. Then I would have basically, even if I block the Daybreak Ranger or the Gastaff Shepherd, then that basically means that I take 10 damage, or 9 damage rather, and he gets a slime token out of it. So even though I don't lose my Solve Occultist, I go down to 1, and he's got way too many creatures for me to handle, even with 5 mana. There's pretty much nothing I can do at that point. But he decides to play it safe and just swing it with those 2, because he's pretty sure that he can win the turn after that, even pretty much no matter what I do. And I think that pretty soon I'm going to realize the same thing. So he's just going to pass his turn without playing any spells, and his werewolves are all going to flip, and he's pretty much guaranteed to win the next turn, unless I do something miraculous. But I draw Mulch, and I decide to play it because the thing that I really wanted to play this turn was 3 mana, which is Cackling Counterpart. And I figured with Cackling Counterpart I might actually have a chance if his werewolves weren't flipped right now, but I don't know, if he had played another spell, then I probably wouldn't have stood a chance anyway. But either way, there's 1 island here, and I'm just like, phew, at least I got 1. And I play the island, and I decide not to use my Cackling Counterpart. I decide that it's better to not show him that I have this card and save it as a trick for next game, and hopefully the next game will go a little bit better for me, and then I will be a little bit happier. But yeah, pretty soon I'm just going to decide to give up. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll be back with the next video tomorrow, hopefully. I just need to commentate it. I have all the editing done for it. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this one. Have a nice day. Bye.